Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. Before we get into this, make sure you follow me on my Telegram channel. Got a link to that in the live chat and also the description below. Posting a lot of different trading setups there throughout the week, so make sure you go and check that out. But yeah, guys, like I said, another live stream coming through. Hope you all had a good weekend, and hope all your trading is going good. If not, hang in there. Better days are yet to come. Good morning, David. How are you? Hope you are doing well. Nice, William. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. It's more of a journey than a goal, so always getting better. But yeah, guys, I'm going to take a look at what's going on in the charts today. So first, I'm going to start with AUD/USD. But again, guys, if you're looking at any pairs right now that you want me to take a look at, just drop it in the live chat and I'll make sure I will get back with some analysis for you. So yeah, if you look at any charts, just let me know, or if you're in any trades as well. But yeah, AUD/USD for this one, as you can see, will fall into the downside, which was expected this week. Again, we were rejecting 0.76, very key level of support on the daily term resistance, and we were rejecting that since last week. We turned a little bit bearish last week, but then now we're getting the kick in now this week, well, overnight anyway, for AUD/USD. So yeah, we're looking quite bearish. We've seen some US dollar strength coming over the night / yesterday as well, and yeah, I did expect AUD/USD to fall. I do still think it can fall back to this support here, and if we can get a break of this support 0.75, I do see us moving back down to 0.74. So there's a lot of downside potential for AUD/USD. If I go on the daily quickly, you can see we have the 0.76 support going across here. Really nice strong moves to the upside. Now rejecting us to the downside. So simple, just break and retest of that support term resistance, and then 0.74, which is this area here, which is where I do expect to see price come next. Of course, it has to break through that support, but if it does, that's what I do see price going. So yeah, more downside for AUD/USD. Unless you might get back above here, then I might start not necessarily change my bias, but look into it a little bit more. But right now, it's looking very clear that AUD/USD wants to move down. And this bullish movement was just retraced, and now we're seeing a continuation from that. From the Netherlands, wow. Whereabouts Netherlands? Amsterdam? To be fair, that's the only place I know, so. Well, hello, good morning, or yeah, good morning, good afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well. Okay, so currently I'm in a EUR/USD short trade that was in yesterday on the 1 hour time frame from this push here. So this bearish candle, so around 5, I believe, 5 p.m. GMT. So yeah, currently in that EUR/USD short trade, I'm looking for a move. Well, next stop will be this support here, so I'm seeing if we can get a move into that support, and if we can get a nice break of that, then I'll be looking at this support down there. But yeah, for my weekly analysis, again, bias was very much to the downside for EUR/USD and pretty much all USD pairs, unless it was like USD CAD or USD CHF. In that case, I was expecting the price to go up. But EUR/USD, AUD/USD, GBP/USD, expecting more downside for these pairs. So yeah, more downside for USD this week. Looking at 1.18900 as the first target, and 1.18500 as the second. And if you can break through that, 1.18 all the way down there, but we still got a long way to go before we start looking at that area of the market there. But yeah, more downside for USD I'm seeing this week, unless maybe we break through structure here, then we might be coming back to test these highs up here. But right now it's looking very bearish for me. So yeah, holding on to my shorts, looking for moving to that level and then that level down there. Yeah, markets have been consolidating for quite a long time. through May, early June as well. You can see Euro USD, GBUSD consolidating, AUD consolidating. AUD was consolidating, ends the USD. So yeah, a lot of pairs were consolidating. USD CAD was consolidating for a little bit before that big push to the upside. So yeah, a lot of pairs were just consolidating, ranging, get ready for that big move. Of course, fundamentals helped, but yeah, they were all just building up for that big move, and you can see it was quite a big move there. So I do expect to see the market start moving a lot better now, because after this big move, kind of like a little bit of a catalyst really to get us moving in one direction. So we might be trending for a few weeks, maybe a few months as well, to the upside for USD CAD. I feel like some pairs, unless we get some fundamentals again that could redirect us back to the downside. In that case, then yeah, we could be starting trending to the downside. But either way, I think we could be start trending again for some pairs. Like GBUSD, whether we're going to turn back bullish again or stay bearish. But I think we're going to be in some nice trends now after that consolidation, and either going to trend more to the downside. But right now, price is still bullish. Bearish, sorry. Again, we did say 1.4 was a nice area of resistance that we did expect to see price reject, and then we've got this 1.38 support, which we're expecting price to come and test. And as you can see, it's almost there. On the daily, if I drop to the 4H again, we're still making our way down, making lower lows, lower highs. So it's quite clear GBUSD is still very bearish here. Whether we're going to break through this support, again, not too sure yet. I want to see how price gets there, see what type of price action we get, because if we do break through this with quite aggressive price action, similar to what we did here, very aggressive bearish price action, then I can see us pushing all the way back down to, if I go on the daily quickly, back to this area support here. We had this nice double bottom 1 2 and then push to the upside. So that could be a nice potential trade there to fill in that gap of around 130 pips. So GBUSD does have some mileage on it, but it does need to break through this 1.38 support for that to really happen. But nonetheless, it's looking bearish right now. So far, we're seeing a lot of US dollar strength in the market. So if that does keep up, we can see GBUSD push back down to these lows, at least these lows here, which I'm expecting in the next day or two really. And then yeah, whether we break through or not, potential longs from here, but I personally won't be, because yeah, I have that bearish bias on GBUSD. You can see if we go on the daily chart, we've got all this bearish momentum here to the downside. This looks just to be a retracement, so the momentum is very much to the downside on the daily, and I don't really want to go against that too much. So yeah, won't really be looking for longs at this area, even if it does reject quite well. Probably wait for price to turn bullish first, maybe get back above 1.4 and then look for some longs. In that case, we might be back at these highs soon, but right now it's bearish. So yeah, if the market was to pull back again, looking for more selling opportunities to take that lower. And yeah, 1.38, and we can break through that down here at 1.37. Silver, let's take a look at silver. Okay, so yeah, silver, big collapse to the downside. Again, similar to gold as well, we had that big collapse in the other US dollar pairs as well. So yeah, US dollar is looking very, very bearish right now. We've had multiple attempts at these highs here, and we've failed all of them. To be fair, the market on the weekly is still bullish, technically very weak bullish, but still bullish, because you can see these prices respecting that resistance there, but still making higher lows. But yeah, because of that big candle there, and price is still rejecting this resistance here, it's telling me that price is really failing to break through that area. Got a bit of a trend line there, so if you can break through that, then yeah, I'm seeing a lot of downside for gold. That probably trend line is probably the reason why it's stalling right there. But the fact that we've had this strong bearish candle here last week, well, the week before that, and then we had this weak bullish candle here, is telling me that the momentum is still very much to the downside. Because if we were going to get a strong bounce off that trend line, you would expect to see that bullish candle to be a lot bigger in the reaction from that trend line. However, it's not very small body. indicating to us that the bears are still very much in control since that big push to the downside. So yeah, I can see a break of that trend line, and when we do, then yeah, we might be seeing a lot more downside for silver, because all this price action here is very corrective here. Not a lot not a lot of momentum. It's telling us we can't break that resistance there, so naturally do expect to see silver take a dive, and if silver does take a dive, then you probably see gold take a dive as well. And I was looking at gold earlier today, and that one is already starting to look quite bearish. As you can see, very similar price action as well. Big strong bearish candle, weak bullish candle, telling us that the bulls have not come in since that big push down, and we could be collapsing to the downside again. So if I go on the 4H for gold, you can see we've had this big drop to the downside, and now we're getting this bearish price action here of push, pullback, bit of consolidation. But if you look at the key wicks here, we're always making lower lows here in the market. So it was not lower lows, lower highs, sorry, always indicating to us that price is still bearish and is still pushing to the downside. And as you can see overnight, well, for me anyway, overnight we've had that collapse to the downside. So price right now for gold, I do expect to see another push into the lows, back into this area of support here. We've just broken through this support here in the market, which we were struggling to break last week, which is why we had that consolidation, and also struggling to break through that resistance there as well. But overall, gold was still bearish on the daily time frame. So again, expecting to see another push lower, and then with these lower highs here, we've collapsed to the downside, strong close below. Unless this is a false breakout, which I don't think it is, I do see gold pushing back down to these lows, back to 1760, maybe even some new lows as well. So for that case, yeah, silver might follow gold and see another push to the downside, breaking through that weekly trend line. Yeah, I'm currently in Euro USD shorts. Yeah, so we jump on the hourly time frame. So yeah, currently in Euro USD shorts. I entered yesterday around 5ish on this candle here on the hourly time frame, and looking for this as my target, 1.18900. And if I can get a break of that, I'll be looking at this as my target down here, the previous lows at 1.18500, and then potentially 1.18 as well, but I don't think I'll hold on to the trade for that long. But anyway, still looking for that downside for Euro USD. Again, bias was to the downside after we had this big drop here for Euro USD. I was waiting for a bit of retrace to take this lower, and then I was initially looking for price to push into this support here around 1.2, which did not happen last week. So I started looking at this area of support here. As you can see, really nice area of support, big move to the upside, held as resistance there, a couple of false breakouts, but it did held as resistance, big move down, and then all these wicks were concentrated at that level there as well. So it wasn't looking like price was breaking through down the daily, so dropped to the hourly time frame, and then I'm trying to take advantage of the continuation back into that support, maybe even further, but probably won't hold into the trade for that long. So yeah, looking for more downside for Euro USD back into this previous support here. And then if we can get a break of that, I will be looking at the previous lows down here at 1.18500. But yeah, Euro USD is taking its time. Ends the USD. Yeah, so ends the USD, again, biases to the downside for this one as well. Again, similar to Euro USD, I wanted a lot of these pairs to retrace a little bit further back into this area of support, but again, it doesn't have to. It looks like price is rejecting this resistance here in the market. As you can see, we came up after, well, last time we had that big dive, similar to what we have had here. Big dive to the downside, retrace, was stalling at that resistance for a few days, and now we finally broke it. This time, however, we did not break it. We stalled at that area, a few wicks into that area as well, a few wicks above as well. However, failed to really get a daily close above that level, and then yesterday we had a nice bearish close there with a nice wick to the upside, so a shooting star there. So yeah, I do see more downside for NZD-USD. It's looking good here because now we're getting a shift in price action there. Instead of price, stalling and breaking through, we're getting price rejecting. So yeah, I do see NZD-USD pushing back into these lows here from a daily point of view. And if we keep that up and we do turn bearish for NZD-USD, we can go a lot further. I think potentially even to this area here. If we do see more US dollar strength coming into the markets, previous resistance, so I've gone the weekly time frame. Previous resistance here, because this is kind of like our last major higher high. So higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low, and that's why I do expect to see price push into from a weekly perspective back into that previous resistance, now turn support. So yeah, NZD-USD, I do see more downside, and if we can get a break of this support here, then yeah, 0.68 is where I do see NZD-USD heading to. And again, daily price action looking good. 4 hour still very bearish there as well. So yeah, more downside for NZD-USD. And again, it doesn't really matter if you're not in the trade already, because if we are going to get that move to the downside all the way to those lows, that's 220 pips. So if you don't trade the daily time frame, if you trade the lower time frames, there'll be multiple areas to get into pullbacks and ride the move lower. So yeah, more downside for NZD-USD. First target that support, break for that support, and I do think 0.68. AUD-JPY, yeah, I was looking at that pair again this morning. So yeah, more downside for AUD-JPY. Again, we had kind of like a break and retest of this area here. Price support, broke to the downside, now testing the resistance. So yeah, I do see more downside for AUD-JPY. It does look like the market is starting to turn bearish here. We've been bullish for quite some time on AUD-JPY, as you can see, pushing to the upside. And then we had this big bearish candle kind of breaking through multiple levels of structure there. So yeah, I'm seeing more downside for AUD-JPY right now. Price action looking quite bearish there on the daily, and strong candles on the weekly. So I potentially can see price coming back into this same support, which is where we wicked into last week, Monday. So I think we can see price slowly make its way back down to that support, maybe even breaking through and going a little bit further there as well. But yeah, AUD-JPY is still looking quite bearish there. Nice strong rejection down the daily. So yeah, from the daily point of view, more downside for AUD-JPY. And if you break through that, you can probably hold onto the trade a little bit longer. But yeah, AUD-JPY looks good on the daily time frame. Yeah, we'll take a look at GBJPY right now. Okay, so yeah, GBJPY, sorry, looking bearish. We've had that move to the downside, started from last week when we got that news coming in, and we are falling. Again, for GBJPY, a little bit tricky this pair, because overall it kind of is still bullish. But if you do focus on this price action here, like this section, it is technically bearish, making lower lows and some lower highs. So if you do focus on this price action here, then I do expect to see GJ fall to the downside, back into the support, and maybe go even further. As of the 4 hour, it looks like it's running out a bit of steam, a little bit. We've had nice lower lows here, but since the price action has pushed into this areas, it looks like it is running out a bit of steam. So for GJ, we might see a bit of retrace, and then the follow excuse me, my voice doesn't want to speak today. Apologies, but yeah, it looks like GJ wants to pull back again and then pull and push lower. We do have a bit of a trend line here now, so that could be where it wants to go to. And a nice area of support of the prior low term resistance. So yeah, I do see more downside for GJ. It does have that bearish structure. There's nothing really saying it's going to turn bullish again. When it does turn bullish, and then we'll look for those longs, but right now it's bearish. I'm seeing more movement to the downside for GJ coming up into this following week. for a lot of the other JPY pairs as well. I'm favouring moves to the downside. So GBJPY with this price action as well, more downside I'm expecting for GBJPY. Again, looks like it's running up a bit of steam, so maybe a bit of a pullback, and then we could see the continuation lower. And if price action does keep that up, then potentially we could see GJ all the way at these lows here, 151,400, maybe even further, maybe by the end of the week, but it has to be quite bearish for that to happen. But yeah, more downside for GJ I'm seeing right now. Bearish structure there, daily looking a little bit bearish as well. So yeah, more downside for GJ, potentially back at that support there as well, but I probably want to wait for a pullback first and then look for the continuation. Hello Rex, how are you doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for joining the live stream. Hope you're doing all right. And again, guys, if you're looking at any charts as well, or if you got any trades open and you want to share, feel free to drop it down in the comment below, and we'll take a look at it together. Yeah, a lot of shorts coming in this week, US dollar. So again, if you guys haven't checked out my weekly analysis video, go check that out. Because again, a lot of the US dollar pairs that I was looking at there, expecting a move to the downside, or on the flip side, USD CAD and USD JPY expecting move further to the upside. But yeah, a lot of pairs expecting more downside, even JPY pairs as well. Euro JPY expecting more downside. You can see it is still bearish, not a lot of momentum, but it is bearish. It is falling to the downside. Potentially, if it does keep up that price action, we can potentially push it all the way back down to that support. Although I do think this area of the market might cause a bit of interference, bit of struggle, so we might come in here, maybe mess around for a bit, and then continue to the downside. But yeah, I do see more downside for Euro JPY, CAD JPY as well. You can see the price action there as well. We had a big push to the upside, but now prices turn bearish again. So yeah, CAD JPY I'm seeing more downside, and for this one, again, if it does keep up the price action, seeing it push back into that support around 88, which was the prior resistance over here. So yeah, more downside for a lot of JPY pairs as well. USD CAD, yeah, we'll take a look at USD CAD. So yeah, USD CAD is looking quite bullish here. Again, I did say more upside for USD CAD. These were the two areas that I was looking at for price to potentially reverse. This was the first area and this was the second area. As you can see, prices were respecting that first area quite well, and we had price rejected 1, 2, 3 times, and then eventually we had a nice continuation to the upside. So yeah, USD CAD I'm favouring more upside. If it does keep up this price action, which I do think it can, it might see some retrace now, since we're coming into this area of supply here, and technically the market is kind of still bearish with this push, pullback, push. Could be a pullback, another push back down, but because of that US dollar strength and all the other pairs, all the other USD pairs correlating quite well, then I'm seeing a lot more upside for USD CAD rather than down. So we might pull back, but then I'm seeing upside there, and if we can push on and keep that bullish strength, then yeah, I do see price pushing into this previous resistance here, 1.24800. Yeah, pushing back into that resistance and maybe even higher as well. So similar to like AUSD, Euro USD, I'm expecting price to come back to the lows. USD CAD, I'm expecting price to come back to the highs. So yeah, if you're on the lower time frames and you're looking at trading USD CAD, I'll probably wait for some pullbacks, maybe on the hourly, 50-minute, back into some nice areas of support, and then yeah, look for some longs, because I do see a lot more upside for USD CAD as of right now. And again, you can see there on the daily, we had a bit of a price stalling there, a lot of wicks, small body candles, and now we're pushing to the upside. So yeah, USD CAD looks good for longs back into this area, and I do think for USD CAD, if we keep up this price action and we get a breakout of that trend line, 1.26, this area here is probably coming next. Again, a bit more of a long-term call there, but you know, if that's where we're going, riding the pullbacks looks like a great shout, and yeah, it could be a really nice trend to the upside for USD CAD. So yeah, more upside for USD CAD, keeping up this price action back to those highs, but be aware we might be in a pullback phase right now, pushing into that area of supply there. and then see the continuation. Thank you, William. Thank you, William. Do appreciate that. Thank you, Captain. Captain Fab does mean a lot. The likes does really help the channel out and the video as well. So feel free to do so if you want to. But thanks again for everything that does mean a lot. Daily short on GJ. So yeah, I'm expecting more downside for GJ anyway there. So it looks like we're agreeing on this one. So yeah, GJ, yeah, expecting more downside. We push back into this area here. We've rejected quite nicely. So yeah, GJ, I do see more downside. Again, this area of support I can see price pushing into. So maybe if we do push into that, maybe want to push stops to break even and take some profit off the table, because if price does want to turn bullish again for GJ, this is the area of support where I do expect price to turn and then can continue to the upside, give us a bit of a double bottom and then continue to the upside. But if we don't and we break straight through this area, then yeah, more downside for GJ. And again, GJ has been on this mad bullish run, you know, since last year really. And it is time for price to retrace. Of course, I'm not going to call that for price to retrace, because you know, more often than not, you would think around here price was going to retrace, never did. So yeah, just wait for price to retrace it and then take advantage of it. But you know, you do expect to see the market push down sooner or later for GJ, and then maybe continue bullish eventually. But yeah, GJ could be in that retracement mode coming up. So you know, this could be a really good runner for GJ, because you might have just caught it right at the top and we could be seeing a big push down. So yeah, GJ looks good. But like I said, if it was to turn bullish again, you know, this is the support where I do expect to see price hold and then continue back to the highs. But yeah, overall it does look like a good short there. GBCAD. So yeah, GBCAD's a tricky one, because I'm favoring short for you GBCAD as well. I do think GBCAD can be pushing into this area of support here. You know, if we do take a look at the bigger picture here on the daily and connect these highs here, you can see first, second, third. You know, price is still in a bearish trend here. We've pulled back. I believe that's probably about 50% of that move. If I do take a fib of that, you can see it does line up with the 50% there. So it has retraced 50% of that big fall. It's also testing this price support here. So as you can see, support, now turn resistance with that trend line. So we had a lot of confluence at that area actually for those shorts failing to break through that support, that resistance there as well. So yeah, I am expecting to see GBCAD push back into these lows here and just continue with that bearish structure of push, pull back, push. But like you said, GBCAD just has a lot of noise. There's numerous areas of support and resistance where people in the lower time frames are looking to buy and sell at. So you know, you are in a bit of the wars really, and you know, it's just a difficult pair to trade, and it has been for the past month or so. So yeah, I did say in my weekly analysis that if we can get a break of this, it might be a lot clearer, and we might be seeing a stronger price action. So maybe on the break and retest of that, but I know you trade the daily chart, so yeah, it might be one of those pairs where you just, you know, note it down and just see what happens, and just take a note of it, and you can, you know, learn for it for next time. Because again, it doesn't have to push down; it could actually just go up, just turn bullish. So anything can happen really. But again, for people that trade the low time frames, GBCAD is just a little bit messy for me, so that's why I haven't really traded it. I might get involved if it was to break through here, retest, hold, and then come back down. But all the price action here is just, you know, just too rough. So staying away from GBCAD until I see a lot clearer momentum in the markets. It was looking good here, but then, you know, it's turning messy again. $30 SMA. Take a look at that now. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I used to use a lot of moving averages quite a lot in the past, to be fair, and I'd still do as well. But yes, sometimes I used to use too much, so it would get like confusing for me. But using one or two does do quite well, and you can see the 30 is quite nice. I've never used the 30 moving average before, to be fair, but it does look quite good here actually. And yeah, it does interfere quite nicely with the 30 there, and then we've got that nice reaction to the downside. So yeah, it does have a lot of value behind it, but like you said, again, GBCAD is just a little bit messy. Yeah, it's just a little bit messy, so there are probably other clearer pairs out there to trade, but yeah, not going to really focus on this pair too much this week. But if we were to have a move and if you are looking to trade it, then I do expect to see a move to the downside for this pair. We're coming back into this area here, price support, term resistance. So if we were to hold this, then yeah, a move to the downside does look good for me for GBCAD, but I'm going to be looking at other pairs. I'm going to take a look at some of the Euro pairs because you haven't looked at them yet. So I'm going to take a look at Euro GBP. So for this pair is actually favouring a move to the downside this week actually, because price is actually pushed into a really key area of support on the daily, or support term resistance. So you can see here, nice area of support, 1, 2, and now resistance there. So if price was to hold this, then I do see GBCAD pushing to the downside, GBCAD, Euro GBP to push to the downside, and then back into these lows here, and then maybe even if it is bearish enough, back into this low here, 0.85 as well. But if you do get back above this area and also break this trend line here, then I do think Euro GBP could see a bigger push to the upside, because this potentially here is a higher low, and then we can see the higher high come into play as well. So looking at it from both sides, but right now the market's still holding, resistance, still holding that trend line, so no need to really be looking for longs for Euro GBP unless we're to have a break of that, get above it, start holding as support, and then see the continuation. But yeah, looking for shorts for now for Euro GBP. We're pushing back into that area, so potential shorts could be coming into play. But yeah, it's a little bit of a choppy pair to trade as well, so might not be the best pair to trade right now. You can see there on the weekly, get a little bit messy there with all those wicks. Daily as well, a lot of mess. So yeah, it might not be the best pair to trade anyway. But if it was to go anywhere, I do favour to the downside rather than up. But if it was to break through that trend line in that resistance, then yeah, we'll be flipping my bias, and then we might be seeing some clear momentum in the markets there when that does come. Next, going to take a look at Euro AUD. So Euro AUD is looking quite bullish this morning. And again, we do have some AUD weakness coming to the markets there. So that's probably why we're seeing that. And also some Euro strength as well. But yeah, overall, Euro AUD is still very much in a bullish market. You can see all these higher lows here and higher highs there as well. Kind of stalling a little bit at this resistance here. So price might want to take a breather, but so far it's still bullish, still creating those higher lows. We're still pushing to the upside. So yeah, there's no reason from a daily point of view to go into shorts there. On the 4 hour, you can see we're still making these higher lows in the market. We kept this low here, higher low, higher low. So yeah, still bullish, but again, not trending very, very well. So I'm expecting Euro AUD to have maybe a slight pullback, push back into that resistance again, maybe another failure to break through it, and then we'll turn bearish. But right now, price action is still very bullish here. So yeah, a bit of a pullback, and then I'm seeing a push back into that resistance, maybe even a higher high past it as well. But more upside for Euro AUD, and similar for Euro NZD as well. You can see we had a bit of a collapse last week, but now price is turning bullish again. You can see Euro NZD again still slightly bullish, higher lows and higher highs, not trending to the upside very well, but again still does have that bullish sentiment. On the 4H, it did break through some key levels, so we might see some downside coming into play, maybe at this resistance here. and obviously after that big push there as well. So we might be in a bit of retracement mode again, maybe form another higher low and then push in. But yeah, right now I think USD is going to have a bit of retracement, but at the end of the day, as long as it doesn't take out this support, I think more upside for USD as well. And again, do expect to see some USD weakness coming into the markets as well, so that would help USD push on further. But right now I think we're in retracement mode, coming back into that resistance. So yeah, some downside for USD now, but then I think later in the week we'll turn bullish again. No problem, Rex, happy to help. Yeah, are you talking about to my weekly analysis video, or are you talking about the live stream? Because that does make sense to add it to the weekly analysis video, but I do look at the DXY on the live stream occasionally as well. But yeah, I'm going to look at the DXY right now, because right now it is looking quite bullish. Well, it's trying to turn bullish, to be fair. You can see we've had that big push to the upside, and now we're failing to break through this support here. So again, 1, 2, 3, nice wicks there at that support, failing to break through it. Now pushing back into this area here, so I'm expecting to see some type of reaction there, but as of right now the market is still trying to push higher, so I'm expecting more upside for the DXY, and I do see us pushing back into this resistance up here, which is around 92,400, and maybe even past that as well. But the DXY is looking like it's trying to turn bullish, but like I said, we might be seeing some downside here because we are pushing into this supply there. And again, we do have some corrective price action, so we might have a bit of this, a bit of a pullback, and then a push higher. But again, looking at this from a higher time frame point of view, daily, again, still quite bullish there as well. Still creating those higher highs, and yeah, price action, it does still like it's want to push on. From a weekly point of view, we did get stuck at resistance though. So if I do highlight this area here, you can see support, now time resistance. We're stuck at that resistance there from a weekly point of view. So from a weekly point of view, we really do need to take out this area here to see price push on. Because if we do take out this resistance, then yeah, I do think the dollar could be pushing on a lot further, maybe even into this area up there. So if that's the case, we can see a lot of dollar strength from a technical aspect. Obviously, you need fundamentals to help with that move, because that is quite a substantial move. But if that does happen, we're expecting to see a lot of dollar weakness coming in the next few weeks. So that case, that means, you know, a lot of the USD pairs, GBUSD, ADUSD, EURUSD, could be seeing, you know, quite a nice bearish trend potentially. But of course, if we don't break through that resistance and we hold at it, which we are doing right now currently, then yeah, we might be seeing a push back into these lows and some more dollar weakness coming in. But it just depends what price wants to do down the dollar index, whether it wants to break or hold. So far it's holding. Haven't seen much of a bearish reaction at it, at that resistance right now. So a break of that resistance is still very much on. But yeah, a break of that resistance is still very much on. And if we do have that, then yeah, we could be seeing a lot more upside for this pair. But yeah, daily starting to turn bullish again, 4 hour starting to turn bullish again. So yeah, more upside. But like I said, coming into that supply there, might see a dip in price and then the continuation higher. And then if we do see that, that's where I do expect to see 92,400 and maybe even higher, maybe 92,500 as well. But more upside for the DXY. Okay, so you're talking about my weekly analysis videos then. But yeah, I'll add it to my list because again, they do have quite a big impact on a lot of the pairs that I do analyze. So yeah, I will be sure to add the DXY. USD CHF, another USD pair. Again, it's looking like it's finding a little bit of a bottom here, and we could be pushing on higher on. If you look at the higher time frames, you can see there on the daily, big push to the upside. We are stalling a little bit because again, we do have price support there on the higher time frames, now time resistance. So if you can get it back above that, we might be seeing a lot more upside for USD-CHF. But right now we're stuck underneath resistance, so that does give us a reason why we're stalling a little bit. So again, for USD-CHF, we might be seeing another dip before we push on. But we did have this quite big wick here to the downside, so it's looking like price is giving us a little bit of a bottom there at that area there. Oh, what happened there? A little bit of a bottom there, and then we might be seeing a bit of a pullback and then the continuation higher. But yeah, more upside for USD-CHF right now, and yeah, maybe even some higher highs as well. USD JPY, a bit more of a tricky pair because USD and JPY do have similar strengths. So again, the market is quite choppy. You can see right now, if I go on the daily, you can see the 4H is a bit choppy, daily is choppy as well. Right now, we're kind of in this resistance here. You can see there, big, nice bearish reaction there previously, and now we're at that same area again. So I do expect to see some type of bearish reaction since we are losing momentum coming into this resistance. So it does look like price is starting to break through it. So yeah, I'm seeing some retracement there, but I think we can eventually break through this resistance, 111, and maybe even go and test 112 up there. Like I said in my weekly analysis video, do expect to see some retracement. We do have a nice trend line running through the markets here. So again, connecting these significant lows, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, want to see if USD-JPY can get a bit of retracement back into this area. See what it does here, see if it wants to hold or break through. If it does hold, then yeah, another drive back into that resistance, and potentially that could be the drive that breaks us through that level and see some more upside. Or if we do break through this trend line, then yeah, we might be flipping our bias to bearish, and we might be seeing a stronger JPY than the dollar. But right now, in retracement mode, want to see what happens at this trend line, and then I'll make my judgment for USD-JPY for the rest of the week, or for next week after that. But yeah, more downside for USD-JPY since we're failing to break through that daily resistance, and then at this trend line we'll decide whether we're going to turn bullish again or carry on that bearish momentum. GPUSD we'll take a look at now. So yeah, GPUSD bias was to the downside this week, still is. I still see price pushing back down to 1.38, this price support here. It's not too far off, so we might be seeing a bit of retracement, then a continuation. But like I said, on the daily chart, again, price is still looking bearish. You had this nice collapse to the downside after price was failing to break through that prior high there. You fell back into this range between 1.4 and 1.38. Nice area of resistance, tapped into that once or a couple times, and then we fell to the downside. So yeah, 1.38 is where I do see price going. And if you can get a break of 1.38, then I do see 1.37, which is this support here. So yeah, we do have some targets to the downside for GPUSD if we do keep up this bearish momentum. But for looking for entries, looking for trades, again, you want to see price pull back again, and then so you can get the continuation on the lower time frames. First target's got to be 1.38, and the next 1.37, depending how long you want to hold into your trade for. We do have a bit of a trend line here, so connecting these highs, 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be nice to see another pullback into this trend line, and we do have this support there as well. So again, kind of have some confluence there, support, now term resistance, got the resistance as well from that trend line. So a pullback into that area, see what type of price action we get here, and then yeah, some shorts back into this support, And again, you can drop probably even lower, maybe even to the 15 or 5-minute chart to try and get some better entries to maximize your risk to reward. But yeah, from this area, then we can take that lower back into 1.38, so this support here, and then a break of that all the way back down to 1.37. But again, you probably don't want to hold in that trade for too long, because again, we might see a bigger reaction at that support and then the rollover. So yeah, GBUSD, more downside there. Nice setup around that area, maybe in the lower time frames at the 15-minute. And then yeah, more continuation back down to 1.38. Might see a bit of a reaction from this level because it does have, a lot of support behind it. If I just go back on the daily, you can see it does have a lot of support, a lot of big moves from this area. So yeah, we could see another big reaction like we did previously. But yeah, I do expect to see price going eventually break through it if we do keep up this bearish structure. So yeah, test of that level, might see a bit of a big push, but then if we do turn bearish again, shorts back into that same level, and then 1.37 all the way down there. So overall still bearish on GBUSD because it does look like we're going to get that US dollar strength coming into those markets. So yeah, if that does keep up and we see that US dollar strength, and then yeah, more downside for GBUSD, and same thing for GBJPY as well. And those two pairs do move quite similar. So GBJPY is going to fall. There's a good chance GBUSD is going to fall as well. Next, if we take a look at some of the other GBP pairs, so pound AUD, this one a little bit corrective now. Well, it has been for quite a long time. You can see the price action there was awful. A little bit clearer here, still pushing to the upside, still creating higher highs. But again, it is telling us that price is struggling to push on to the upside, since every time we're having this big push, collapse, big push, collapse, big push, collapse, another big push, collapse. So it's telling us that price is running out of steam, and could be due for a bit of a deeper retracement to the downside, maybe back to 1.81. So yeah, I do expect to see GBAD eventually fall over to the downside, but right now, as of yet, it's still bullish. So I'm not going to call that just yet. Maybe if we do have another push up and we fail to push on above this area here, create a lower high, turn bearish again, then yeah, we might be seeing that collapse to the downside. And then yeah, we could be looking at 1.82 or 1.81 depending what areas of support we break. But yeah, GBAUD is the market is still technically bullish, but it is running out of steam since we're getting these strong collapses to the downside. So I think for GBAUD, I don't think I'll be looking for buys unless price was to push back into the support and hold it. Then yeah, that could be some nice buys because it has a bit of mileage on it. But if we were to push to the upside again and struggle at this resistance, I do expect to see another collapse back down again, and then maybe price to collapse even further. And you see in the 4H there, the market is still bullish, so there's no real reason to short GBAD right now. So yeah, I want to see price come up, maybe struggle again, turn bearish, and then yeah, some good sales could be coming up for GBAD, but as of yet, it's still quite bullish. And GPNSD, similar pair to GBAUD. You can see I was looking for a bit more retracement this week for GPNSD. We have this nice trend line here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking for a fifth test. However, it's turning to the upside before that trend line, so we didn't really see too much downside for GPNSD. But we have broken through key levels of structure. So if I go on the 4H, you can see we've broken through this trend line here, 1, 2, 3. Broke through that on the fourth test. So yeah, GPNSD could be in retracement mode here, looking for another push down. So that probably lines up there with GBAUD as well, in retracement mode, lining up for another push down. So we could be seeing a bearish GBAUD in the GPNSD. Again, very strong resistance here, which we just had a false breakout of for GPNSD. As you can see here, nice area of resistance there. Second, third, fourth. Broke out, force break, right back underneath, and now we're testing again. So see what happens here, see if we do hold that area. Again, waiting for those daily candles to close, because that's what we're using to because this is a daily resistance, so that's what we're using to measure whether we're going to get a break or a rejection. Right now the candle is bullish right into the thick of it, so we'll see how that candle closes by end of today, whether it's closed breaking through it or we get us a nice wick, and then we can judge that and then use that information in tomorrow's trading to our advantage. So if you do see a nice wick to the upside, we do see a nice wick to the upside and price failing to break through that resistance, then yeah, tomorrow we could be waiting for a bit of retracement and then look to take that down. For tomorrow's trading, again, hopefully that doesn't do it overnight, but if it does, then obviously we missed the opportunity. But if it doesn't, we could be in some great shorts for GPND if it doesn't break through that resistance. But of course, if it does, breaks it and close back above it, again, we might be seeing a little bit more upside and might see price pushing back into the full H, pushing back into those recent highs all the way up there, which could still be a nice long trade if we do hold that. But yeah, I don't think I'll be looking for that opportunity right now, just because GPND is a little bit messy there. Rather short it than long, but we'll see how the daily candle closes. And GBP CHF, this one's still looking a little bit choppy as well. If I go on the daily time frame, you can see, the price action is quite bad with this one as well. Again, this one needs a nice catalyst, maybe some fundamentals for pound or for the Swiss franc to get this one going, either to the outside or to the downside. But it's having a real tough time breaking through this resistance. You can see nice resistance there, support 1, 2, 3, 4, all getting rejected from the same resistance. So yeah, price is having a real hard time breaking through that area. So I do think, because of again how the weekly candle closed as well, you can see it closed there as a nice doji there with a big long wick, telling us that prices are having a real hard time breaking through that area. So yeah, I do think we can see some downside for GBP-CHF and maybe some new lows and finally see the breakout. But again, a little bit tough to call just because how the market is moving here for pound CHF. It's a little bit all over the place. So yeah, not going to focus on this pair for too long. But if I was to favour a move, it would be to the downside. Price is rejecting this resistance here quite well. 1, 2. Maybe if it's come back up here again, invite us to short the pair again and see some downside. But like I said, not going to really focus on this pair for too long because it's a little bit messy, a little bit choppy, and there's clearer pairs out there. But if I was to favour a move, it would be to the downside. And this looks like we just had a nice false break of this area, and then could be seeing the collapse to the downside after that. Next, if we take a look at some of the other JPY pairs, so we've really looked at pound JPY and euro JPY. CAD JPY, another pair that looks like it's pushing to the downside. So again, like I said, for this one, we've got a nice key area, 88. And if you do keep up this price action, then yeah, that's exactly where I do see price pushing to that 88 support. We might struggle around this area here because a nice area of demand, big push to the upside. So you could see price tap into this area, push up, and then fall down, which is perfectly fine because then that gives us a nice opportunity to go short again, gives us another lower high, and then we look to take it down. But CAD JPY right now is looking quite bearish. You can see we had that big drop previous week. Last week, treating that as retracement. Now I'm expecting to see the continuation lower. So yeah, more downside for CAD JPY, and yeah, we're keeping hold of that trend line there as well. So yeah, more downside for CAD JPY. Not necessarily a break of this support. Probably cross that bridge when we get to that. But right now, it's looking very bearish. So yeah, waiting for another push up, giving us another lower high, and then we look to take it down because again, the market is still bearish. I still see more downside for this pair. CHF JPY, another JPY pair, still looking bearish as well. Big collapse to the downside, again treating all of this bullish price action here as retracement, looking for another leg to create some new lows past this point here. So yeah, anything now of price pushing up again is probably just retracement, for another leg lower. So yeah, if it does push up, I think it's just another opportunity to look for shorts to take this pair down, because as of yet, you can see if I go on the daily chart, we have this big drop, you know, in price action there. Again, I'm not saying it's a reversal because we've been in a bullish trend for quite some time. You know, if I zoom out, you can see we've been pushing to the upside. So overall, that in the grand scheme of things, that big bearish drop there doesn't really mean anything to this big bullish trend here. So I'm not saying it's a reversal, but after this big dump here, this price action does look like to be retracement. So I'm expecting to see another leg lower, maybe equal lows, and then we might start trending to the upside again. But as of yet, you know, the price action is bearish, so I'm gonna stick with that analysis there and expect to see a new push to the lows, maybe even a lower low. But yeah, more downside for CHF-JPY, and if you do see some upside movement, you know, don't be phased. It's probably just retracement and then another opportunity to go short. NZD-JPY for this one, again looking quite bearish. You can see another push to the downside, creating some new lows down the 4H. On the daily, we had a nice push to the downside, breaking through this trend line here in the market. Again, we had a slight break not too long ago. Price got back above it, back below, and now we're seeing that continuation to the downside. So yeah, more downside for NZD-JPY, and if we keep up that price action, I can see price pushing back into this support here. We didn't quite make it on that first drop, so maybe we're taking a bit of a breather to get it on the next. But yeah, NZD-JPY for me is looking very, very bearish here. So yeah, I'm expecting to see a nice push back into 76, maybe even further. But yeah, I want to see a bit of retracement to the upside first, and then you can look for some entries and then take it lower. But right now the market's too bearish to short. Probably wait for it to retrace first, and then yeah, some nice opportunities could come into play later. No worries, I'll take a look at GPNSD again. Doesn't matter. So yeah, GPNSD, like I said, for this one, the market is kind of messing around at this resistance here as well. I did say for GPNSD that I wanted to see it pull a little bit more to the downside first before looking for a move up into this trend line. To be exact, you can see nice area of support there, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I was looking for a fifth test and then another move higher. However, it hasn't quite made that move there. As you can see, it's had a nice dump to the downside, and now it's ready to start a retrace. So I want to see what happens at this resistance here, whether it holds or not. If it does hold, then we might be seeing that push down back into that trend line, and then some longs could be happening. But I did say as well, if it was to get back above this area here of resistance, maybe a nice close above, then price has probably had another break of it. In that case, we might be pushing to the upside again and seeing some more continuation. But it's kind of coming into an area of resistance, so I'm not too sure about this one really. I want to see how this daily candle closes, whether it closes strongly above or it forms a wick and then pulls back, because then that will probably give me a better picture, more information on what price is doing at this level. Because you can see nice area of resistance, big dump to the downside, there again, there again, there again, bit of a false break there. So I don't know if it's had that false break retesting to come back down, or if it's just had the false break and now it's getting back above to continue. So I want to see a bit more development there, probably have a clearer picture by the end of this daily's candle. And if we do hold that, then yeah, see a move lower back into this trend line. And if we can hold the trend line, then we could be seeing maybe some more continuation longs for GPNSD and maybe some higher highs. But right now, I think there's a little bit more room for price to pull back to the downside before turning bullish again. But if I'm wrong, we should be seeing a daily close above this level here, and then the continuation can really start from there. But as of yet, again, waiting for the daily candle to close to see what it does with that level, whether it's holding or rejecting. Whether it's holding or breaking, and then we can probably have a clearer picture of what GPNSD wants to do. But again, if you are looking for those pullbacks to ride long, then I think this trend line here around the 1.95500 could be a nice area to do so. I think this pullback here Maybe a bit too early. Maybe a bit too early because of where it is and that resistance. But yeah, probably wait for the daily candle to close and then we can make a better judgment from there on. Yeah, I'm currently in a EURUSD short trade. So yeah, currently in some EURUSD shorts. So we're going the hourly time frame. Again, I've been in some shorts since yesterday, around 5ish GMT from this bearish candle here. Let's zoom in. This bearish candle here. So that's why I got involved in the hourly time frame. Again, EURUSD, my biases was the downside this week. You can see we're rejecting this key area of support. Nice area of support, big move up. Now term resistance there, term resistance there as well. There again, we're struggling to get above it last week with all those wicks. So coming into this week, I was looking for shorts. And then you can see if I jump to the hourly time frame, we broke through this trend line here in the market. So we broke through that trend line, had the retest, pull back, got involved there, and now I'm looking for a move into this support here for EURUSD, 1.18900, and then if you can break through that support into this support down there, 1.18500. So yeah, currently in shorts for EURUSD, looking for a move lower, and again DXY was looking good for a move up. So again, that was another reason why I got involved in EURUSD, because DXY was looking good for a move up, and as you can see, we've had that move up. I'm expecting to see a bit of a pullback now for the DXY, however, because we are pushing into this area here. We're going the 4H. You can see a little bit better, pushing into this area here, nice area of supply, big bearish candle from that area, so we might see a bit of retracement and then the continuation. But I do expect to see the DXY push into that resistance up there, 92,400, and maybe even higher. So since the DXY does inversely correlate with EURUSD, you know, that helped. That was another reason why I got into those shorts. And now, yeah, looking for a move into this low here, and then if you can break through that into that low down there. But yeah, more downside I'm seeing for EURUSD and a lot of the other USD pairs as well. So currently in EURUSD, going to see how that gets along, and hopefully we can get a move into this support here by the end of the week. Is anyone else in any trades? Feel free to share. Going to take a look at some of the CHF pairs. Again, not very popular, these pairs, but they do often give good moves. AUCHF, yeah, so we've seen the move to the downside for this pair, which was expected. You can see down the day we're getting all these wicks in this area. Price was really rejecting to break through. We're failing to get a daily close above this area, so price was rejecting, and now we're seeing the follow through to the downside on the daily. Now coming back into that support. If you can get a break of that support, then yeah, I do see AUCHF back at this back at that support there, 0.69. If we can get a break of that. But yeah, overall AUCHF is looking bearish here, and again, if I do zoom out, you can see the market is still quite bearish as well. So more downside for AUCHF, and yeah, and a break of that support on the 4H, which we're kind of trading at now, I think will take us to this support there. Same thing with NTCHF as well, similar price action there as well. Price was building up, failing to break through that resistance, which was this support. This price support, big move up, now term resistance. So yeah, I do think anti-CHF is good for a move back down to this support here, maybe some new lows as well. We can see that overall direction of the market is to the downside. We've also got this trend line here, first, second, third, fourth. Just had a fifth test, which had a nice confluence with that resistance there as well. So we're looking very bearish here. I'm seeing another move back into that support, 0.64 and maybe even further. USD-CHF, we're looking for a move to the upside again because of that US dollar strength coming to the market. So want to see that more continuation. First, might see a bit of retracement first, and then the continuation. As you can see, we're holding onto this support, a few false breaks of that area, but overall the market's still holding to that support. So maybe another retest of it, and then the continuation. But it's looking very good. It's looking very good for USD-CHF for more upside there. Euro-CHF, this pair a little bit all over the shop recently. Nice bearish trend, however, and I think maybe a bit of a bearish trend line here as well, connecting these lows. So yeah, connecting those lows, we still do have that bearish trend line intact. So yeah, if the market wants to have a move to the downside, we're kind of at the area where you do expect it to happen. Nice to see another daily candle close below that trend line there, and if we do, then yeah, I do expect to see a fall to the downside for Euro-CHF. You can see in the 4H we're having a hard time trying to break through that trend line, trying to break through this resistance there as well. So more downside for Euro-CHF as long as we stay underneath the trend line, stay underneath that resistance, and then yeah, we could be seeing some more downside for Euro-CHF. Okay, yeah, I'll put a breakdown of the trade on the Telegram channel, and I'll be looking to put some trades there this week as well. So make sure you guys look out for that. But yeah, we'll be putting the breakdown on the Telegram. Yeah, potentially we could be seeing a bearish market for crypto. A lot of the crypto pairs are looking like it might be finding not necessarily their tops, but you know, an area where you do expect to see a retracement, because Bitcoin had a big run to the upside over the past year or so. If I go on the daily, actually not on the weekly, you can see we've had a big run to the upside for Bitcoin. So for any market really, you have a push, you have a pullback, you have a push, you have a pullback. So Bitcoin was always going to have this move down. It was always going to have that move down, because again, you can see here, if you just look at the history of price action, throughout any market really, when you have this big run up, you come down. Big run up, you come down. Big run up, you come down. So yeah, Bitcoin was always going to do this. Again, I didn't know it was going to do it at 60,000. It could have run up again and done it at 90,000. But yeah, it's doing that retracement mode. So yeah, I think we can see a bearish market for Bitcoin for a while. Not necessarily because I think it's coming back down to zero, but just because for a healthy market to move, you have that push, you have that pullback, push, pullback, and now we've had that big colossal push, all the way from 10,000 to 60,000. So the market is definitely overdue a pullback. So yeah, pullback might take a few months or year or so. I don't know. Need to check how long on average pullbacks last for Bitcoin when they have the big runs up. But yeah, I do see Bitcoin pushing back to highs and even further eventually. But right now, yeah, we do look like we're in a bearish market, and I can see more downside for Bitcoin. But simply because the market pushes, it pulls back, it pushes, it pulls back. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, big colossal breakout, that consolidation. So yeah, more downside, but it's natural for the market to do that. So yeah, I do see some bearish for some time being, but yeah, it's expected, because you look at the price action here, we have this big colossal run up. Bitcoin wasn't that popular. It was quite popular back in 2017, but obviously it's very, very popular now. But we had this big run up to the upside, and now you can see we had this big drop back down. People will be thinking, oh, Bitcoin's going to zero, but if you just look at the nature of the market, it's had this colossal run up. It needs to retrace anyway, because that's just how the markets move. It moves in waves. So I think we're having this price action here again for Bitcoin now, which again, this price action here lasted like over a year. So we could be seeing a bearish Bitcoin here for a few months to come, I reckon, if this is a retracement, and then eventually see Bitcoin turn bullish again. But yeah, like you said, we've had this breakout of that consolidation. So now, yeah, I do expect to see price push down. We've got the support here on the weekly, which Bitcoin is holding on to. So we might be seeing a push up, give us a low high, and then the break of it. But yeah, I'm seeing more downside for Bitcoin rather than I'm seeing upside right now. But I do think Bitcoin eventually will be back at those highs. Yeah, I mean those would be great buys for investment purposes. Buys that you hold on and you just forget about, because a lot of people would have been buying Bitcoin up here, with all the hype surrounding it. A lot of people be buying it and then wanting to hold their trades from up here. But if I was going the monthly time frame, for you, even just put it on your your Forex hat on. If a pair was to push up like this, you wouldn't buy that. You would wait for price to retrace and then you look to buy, or anything you probably would look to sell, to be fair, because it's had this big run up, so overextended. You do expect to see some retracement, so on the low time frames you could look for some sells. But we've had this big run up here, and a lot of people are looking to buy the impulse. You never buy the impulse. You wait for price to retrace and then you buy the retracement. So that's what I believe Bitcoin's doing now. And then once we turn bullish again after that retracement, because if I do get a fib onto this from this low here, it's only just reached the 50%. It hasn't even reached the 0.618. It might even push all the way back down to 0.786. So you don't know with that, but when the retracement is done, that'll be a great time for buys and to really hold on to it, because it probably comes back to the highs. And maybe even, probably even a lot further, maybe 100k, 200k, or whatever Bitcoin wants to do. But yeah, right now this looks like a simple retracement for me. So when the retracement is over, buys, holding on to those buys look really, really good. Yeah. I mean, we just need to look at it from a technical standpoint, really. See what price action you're getting, when you buy. Again, do have the long-term hat on though. You already trade daily anyway, so you probably already do have that long-term hat on. But yeah, just follow the price action, see what price action we're getting. If we're constantly making higher highs, higher lows, there's no need to panic. To get out your trade, because if this is a retracement, technically, as retracement goes, we should be back at these highs when that retracement is done. Obviously, we have no idea when that retracement is done, but when we do get some signs that it potentially is done, then yeah, buys to 60,000, potentially even further. Yeah, that is very true, because again, crypto, a lot of people just buy, and that's it basically. See what all the hype is at, and then they just buy. So there's not really much technical or even fundamentals or sentiment really analysis behind their positioning or why they're doing something. So yeah, we do have that advantage, so we can transfer that quite easily to crypto, just by knowing simple impulse retracement. You'd avoid buying and just holding positions at this area, which I know a lot of people would have done. just stuck a lot of positions there, and then when this big collapse comes in, you know, it's all panic stations, Bitcoin's going to zero, and then you sell your positions and then you've lost money, when you know really if you're going to buy up here, it's going to be short term, it's never going to be long term, because we've done the impulse. Now we're looking for the retracement, and now we're getting that retracement. So now a lot of people get scared, Bitcoin's going to zero, when now you should be just waiting for that retracement to be over and then looking for the buys again. USDCHF, so yeah, I do think USDCHF will go up if we do see that strength from US dollar come into play, which it so far is, but yeah, I do see USDCHF going up. We're kind of stuck at this support here, which I was speaking about earlier, price support, now term resistance. So if price was to break through this, then yeah, we have opened the door for more upside, and potentially even see price at this resistance up there on the daily. But right now we're kind of stuck at this area, which is why USDCHF is having such a hard time moving higher, because we're trading at that daily resistance. But you can see on the 4H we've had this nice big bullish run, we've pulled back, failed to break through our prior low here in the market, so nice false breakouts there, catching people on the wrong side, and now we've pushed on to the upside. So yeah, USDCHF, I do see more upside for this pair. Like I said, we might be seeing retracement first and then a continuation, just because it's a little bit corrective, so we might dip, you know, find some support and then continue. But yeah, I do see more CHF, won't be looking for sales for USDCHF, only buys and a push back into those highs, and then yeah, maybe even a higher high as well. But yeah, for entries, probably wait for a pullback and then the continuation. But it does look like we're seeing that US dollar strength come into these markets, so if that does keep at it, if that does, you know, sustain itself, then yeah, USDCHF should be moving up. And then if you do see a move lower, it's likely to be retracement, get involved in the pullbacks, and then you could take it higher back into the resistance up there. But yeah, USDCHF, I do think it's on its way up, and then if you take up these highs, next target should be around 0.92500 and maybe even 0.93. Yeah, 100%, because you know, everyone and anyone was buying crypto, you know, just before the crash. I pretty much remember. Yeah, it was quite ugly, to be fair. But yeah, and you know, even like see on Instagram, you see a lot of memes saying people, you know, if you haven't bought Bitcoin or whatever crypto, you know, you're missing out on life and stuff. So yeah, there's so much pressure for you to buy crypto, and it was kind of weird how at that time everyone was saying, you know, buy crypto, you know, if you haven't bought any, you know, you're missing out. And then, you know, within like a month or 2 months, then you have the big crash. It's weird. It's almost like it was scripted. So yeah, you know, a lot of people that got the big money would definitely, you know, taking their profit after that. But yeah, like I said, retracement, and then we should be going longs again. The trick is just to find out when the retracement's over. So that's currently my position right now for EURUSD. I think my stop loss is actually a little bit high, actually, around about there. So yeah, going to see how that trade plans out for EURUSD over the course of this week, and yeah, potentially might look for to scale in somewhere if we do have some nice retracements, because I do still see price pushing to 1.18500 and maybe even 1.18 as well. But right now, yeah, more downside for USD. To be fair, AUD/USD, I was debating between taking AUD/USD and EUR/USD, and you can see AUD/USD, flew to the downside a lot further. So yeah, kind of drew the short straw there, because if I took AUD/USD, I'll be in a lot more profit than EUR/USD. But again, that's always hindsight. But the same principle, kind of same trade, US dollar strength. Don't want to take both of them just in case we see US dollar weakness, and then that messes both the trades up. But yeah, looking good for EUR/USD, and just going to see how that trade runs. Yeah, there was so many scams, 100%, so many scams. And it wasn't difficult to scam people as well. It wasn't difficult, because a lot of people that were getting involved with, buying cryptos, or, doing anything in the financial markets, there were a lot of beginners, first time people getting involved. So it wasn't difficult to, scam them, because they didn't know what they were doing. And it's not really their fault, to be fair. Obviously they could do a bit more research, but at the end of the day, it's not their fault. It's just people taking advantage of other people, really, and it was quite bad. Yeah, exactly. I know a lot of money was definitely stolen in that period. Yeah, EUR/USD is taking its time. I was debating between AUD/USD and EUR/USD, and I wish I took AUD/USD, but there was nothing technical standpoint saying I should have took AUD/USD instead of EUR/USD. But if I did, it would be running a lot cleaner and a lot further, caught more pips anyway. But at the end of the day, basically the same trade is that euro is slightly stronger than the other pairs, than GBP, AUD, NZD as well. So that's why EUR/USD is moving not as clean. But at the end of the day, just want to see if we can get this move to happen. Again, first TP there, second TP there, and we'll see how that goes. But it's just moving a little bit slow. Hopefully gets there by the end of the week. I don't really want to hold in this trade for too long, since I did get in on Monday. Don't really hold over the weekend. Latest want to be out Friday. Chia, how's your GBP/USD trade running? Where did you get involved yesterday, or was it last week? Because GBP/USD is looking good. I did say it would be nice for a pullback, but I'm not sure if we'll get that for GBP/USD as of right now. We did have some nice area support here, and the trend line as well. So I was looking for maybe a retest of that area, but the market's quite bearish, so we might not get that. Again, like I said, I do see GBP/USD pushing back into this support here, and a break of that into 1.37. So yeah, more downside for GBP/USD, and yeah, if you are looking for entries, I'll probably wait for this pullback to happen and then take it down. But yeah, right now it's looking bearish. So yeah, I'm not sure if that will happen. John, what pair did you get in? What pair did you get in yesterday? Was it GPUSD or USD? Okay, since Friday, it's not bad. So that means you probably got involved either around here or around there, Chia. Maybe at that resistance, or maybe before. Was it before the news? Actually, no. The news was. When was the news? The news was Thursday, so yeah, we're after the news. So yeah, around here. So anyway, that looks like a good trade anyway, Chia. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, to be fair. I've never realised that. But yeah, looks like a good trade. And yeah, 1.38 is where I do see price going. And potentially 1.37. Where's your target? Is it 1.38? That support there? Because it's looking likely if that's the area. And if we can get a break of that, then yeah, it could be 1.37. But again, probably not sure if you want to hold on to the trade that long. Might take a week or two to get there. Might be next week. Yeah, I'm swing trading on Euro USD at the moment. So Euro USD, my current position is right there. Yeah, so I'm looking for a move into eventually 1.18500, which is this prior low. First TP would be this area here, and then if you can break through that into that area there. But yeah, I'm holding that swing. Hopefully we can get there by the end of the week. But yeah, I want to see some momentum coming in, because I think Euro is slightly strong today. So that means Euro USD isn't, moving to the downside like the other pairs like GPUSD or ADUSD or NZDUSD. So it's having a slightly harder time. But yeah, I'm holding that move for Euro USD back into those lows. See if we can get that move by the end of the week. Okay, so 1.39175. Okay, so yeah, around about this area here then. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that looks like a great trade there. Yeah, so 1.38 there, looks like a very nice trade there. Looks like a good trade, probably might end there. If not by then today, maybe tomorrow as well. So looks like a good trade there on GPUSD. Oh, nice, well done, John. Because yeah, we did retrace to the upside there yesterday, back into that same resistance, back into that trend line as well. Nice turn of structure there. So yeah, price was looking very good yesterday, holding that bearish structure. Nice retracement. Now we'll see the continuation. So yeah, GPUSD is looking good, back into that 1.38. And like I said, guys, if you can break 1.38, 1.37, but yeah, probably want to exit your trades there. See what price does. Maybe if it has a big push up, or maybe consolidates or does something, and then maybe on the break and retest, or if it retraces, forms a lower high, then maybe you can look to get involved in the bigger move down. Again, that's what I would be doing. I know you guys maybe not as long term as me, so maybe you were to break underneath, retest, that would probably be more up your alley. But you stick to your plan and trade the way you're wanting to. But I do see GPUSD, if we can push past 1.38 to 1.37, which does open the door to more shorts. But yeah, 1.38 is a nice place to take support, profit at, because at that support we might see a big reaction at. No, I put my whole position on, and then I just close some of it out when it gets there. So you know, on MT4, if you put, I don't know, 0.2, you can close, you know, 0.05 of it, or if you put one lot, you can close 0.2. So I just close, you know, partials of that big. I don't split the positioning. You can do, it does make a lot of sense to do so. You know, there's no right or wrong way, but that's just how I do it. But yeah, splitting does make a lot of sense as well. No worries, man, no worries. Also, how's my microphone sounding? How's my voice sounding? Is it sounding okay? Because I got a new microphone recently. I don't know if it's sounding bad or not, so let me know if it's sounding alright. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, to be fair. Yeah, because if you set two orders and then one hits TP and then one can continue, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I mean, that's a perfectly fine way to do that. Probably even better in the way than I do it, because I'm not always at on my phone or at the computer when my trades hit TP, so I don't always close it, you know, exactly where I want to close it. Sometimes it's a little bit, it's pulled back a little bit, so I don't always get the full amount of pips that I was seeking to get. So yeah, that's probably a better option to do, really. So yeah, makes a lot of sense to do that. Okay, cheers, William. Thanks for that. Looking at any pairs to enter. I mean, not currently, no. Yesterday I was looking at a few. I was looking at some of the USD pairs, and I was also looking at some of the CHF pairs as well, like NZD CHF. I was looking for a move to the downside yesterday because price was failing to break through this resistance here on the daily, and also we had this bearish trend line here in the market. So I was looking for shorts there yesterday, but it's only really come through overnight, so I kind of missed that. And I was focusing on Euro USD as well, so managed to call Euro USD. I haven't really looking at pairs to take in later this week. I need to do that. I'll probably do that after the live stream. Yeah, so I haven't really looked into the pairs. I mean, I've looked at the pairs that I want to trade this week, but you know, I haven't seen which moves are coming up next. So yeah, I think Euro GBP I am looking at for potential either longs or shorts, depending on what price wants to do. But again, it's a little bit choppy pair, so I might just, you know, not trade that at all, really, because you can see very choppy, but really clear area of support there, big move up. So if we can get above that, can get above the trend line, I might open the doors to some nice longs. So that is one of the ideas I have this week, but yeah, it's a bit choppy, so I might just not trade it at all. But yeah, I need to go through a lot of the pairs after the live stream, see what's happening, and then yeah, I'll probably have a clearer picture of what I'm looking to do. But currently just in that Euro USD, and just going to be managing that and to see you know, if we can get this trade, this pair to down there. But yeah, don't really have my eyes on any pairs at this moment in time, but I think tomorrow, if you're on the live stream, I'll probably have some pairs I'm looking at to get involved in, so I'll probably tell you there tomorrow. I just use candle closures, to be fair. I try to keep my entries as simple as possible, because one of my my issues, my problems before, was that I was trying to overcomplicate my entries, trying to get some perfect entries, minimal drawdown, very tight stop losses, which was actually my downfall, because a lot of the time I was right with the direction, but my entries were just too small, or trying to be too intricate. So yeah, I kept my entries a lot simple now. So I just wait for candle closures to give me some nice candle formations, and go off in candles, pin bars. I wait for that and just wait for price to hit my area of interest, and then I take the trade from there. So it's quite simple. I mean, for this trade for Euro USD, you can see this bearish closer here. Price was kind of forming these resistance up there, and then I was taking this as to be the next lower high on the lower time frames. So price was forming these lower highs here. So yeah, I was waiting for price to pull back. It pulled back, gave me a bearish candle there at that resistance, stop loss above it, and then I'm in the trade. So very, very simple, but I'm finding it really effective for me, because now I can put my attention elsewhere and the analysis behind the trade, rather than looking for entries. But again, if you're getting some really good entries using the system you do, then take full advantage of that, because the better the entry, obviously the better the risk to reward. And if it's working for you, then yeah, stick at it, keep at it. Euro AUD. So yeah, Euro AUD overall is still very much in the bullish market. You can see higher highs, higher lows there on the daily. It did pull back into this support here in the market. So yeah, I did say for Euro AUD, my bias is still to the upside, still creating higher highs and higher lows. It's having a tough time to break through that resistance, so you need to watch out for that. But yeah, like you said, it is a little choppy, because you can see it's had 1-2 previous attempts at breaking through, and you can see overall is a little bit choppy. So kind of similar to the GP CAD position situation, because even though you get some clarity for a move down through GP CAD, you've got so much choppiness and so much unclarity, it doesn't look very attractive. And I think you're in the same situation here for UAD as well. Even though, yes, I do favour a move to the upside for UAD, it might be a better pair to trade in the lower time frames. I know you don't do that, but if it was probably in the lower time frames, because you can get a better kind of, not risk to reward, but you can capture more pips, maybe get your stop loss to break even before it hits that resistance there. Because if you were to take on the daily, you're coming into that resistance, and then that might send it back down, and you might be in some drawdown as price consolidates between that support and that resistance. So yeah, it might not be the best pair to trade on the daily point of view, just because it's a little bit choppy. But yeah, I do see this pair pushing to the upside anyway, so it might work, but I'm not sure if it's a trade worthwhile, especially if you don't feel confident either. Yeah, exactly. So that makes a lot of sense there, William. Exactly, because your trade does need room to work with. Can't really predict how the market's going to move. You can predict whether it's going to go up or down, but it might go down a little bit first, go up a little bit first, move sideways, spike down before moving in your direction. So yeah, it's always best to give your trade a bit of room and sacrifice a little bit of the reward, and also it's good for the stress as well. Takes a lot of stress away, a lot of anxiety, because you're not constantly looking at your trade, thinking, oh snap, because it's like, I don't know, 4 pips away or 3 pips away from your stop loss, and it's consolidating. So yeah, it gives myself a lot of ease if I do give myself a little bit more room on my trades. I can go a bit into autopilot mode. Exactly. You can't lose money if you're out the trade, so always remember that you can't lose money if you're not in the trade. And especially for people that are still not quite profitable yet, I think a big advice for you is just all the trades you're doing, half it. Take less trades really, because at this moment in time, it's not really about how many trades you take, it's about the quality of your trades. So if you're still struggling with getting to that profitable side, half the trades you're doing, I think that will be a really good help, because that did help me as well. I could take like 10, 15, 20 trades in a week in the past, and that's just so stressful. Unless you like proper scalping, for like 2 or 3 pips at a time, it doesn't make sense to take 15, 20 trades a week. So yeah, just half the trades you're doing, that could really help, and also save your account as well, because you're losing less money. But yeah, guys, we are coming to the end of the live stream, so if any of you guys are looking at any pairs or trading any pairs at this moment in time, feel free to share. I'll do some analysis before the live stream does end. But yeah, feel free to share if you're looking at any pairs currently. Like I said, I'm currently in Euro USD shorts, going to see how that gets going. I probably will still be in this trade tomorrow. I'll probably still be in this trade tomorrow, so I'll keep you guys updated to see how it's going. But yeah, looking at 1.189, 1.18900 first target, and then 1.18500. Yeah, same. So yeah, scalping. You got to be built different to do scalping. I mean, I've definitely tried it. I've given it a good go before, because I did kind of like the idea, because your profits are quite instant, or your losses are quite instant. So with long term, you kind of on that board, you're not sure if it's going to work or not for a longer period of time. Obviously that doesn't really matter, but it does. When I first started out, I was quite anxious, because I was just waiting, constantly looking at my trade, seeing if it was going to play out or not. But then scalping, it's instant. Within the next 3-4 minutes, you already know if you lost or won. So that's why I kind of liked it. But yeah, when I was doing it, it was just way too intense. Yeah, very, very, very risky as well, especially if if you scalp without stop loss as well, because when news events come, it comes. Because normally with a scalp, your stop loss is like 3-4 pips. So if a news event comes and does 50 or 100, potentially blowing your account. And it's just too much noise for me. So yeah, too much stress as well. So true. So I mean, hasn't everyone's done that really? Let's be honest here. All try to get rich quick. Nothing wrong with it, but you will get humbled. I mean that's the picture people paint for you for the financial markets anyway. You know, just invest this or trade that, and you know, £1,000 a day, $1,000 a day. When in reality, you have to go through a lot of ups and downs, before you see any clarity really in the markets. And to be fair, I wouldn't have it any other way. To be fair, because not only have I learned a lot about myself as well. And nothing in life that's worthwhile comes easy anyway, so wouldn't have it any other way. Okay guys, so it's coming up to 12 p.m, so we'll be looking to end the live stream shortly. But like always, going to do a quick rundown on some of the pairs that we looked at previously, see how they've gotten on, see what moves you could be looking for later this week. But yeah, coming into the end of the live stream, so just going to do a quick rundown of some of the pairs, and also the pair that I'm currently trading as well. So Euro USD, like I said, I'll start with this one. Looking for a move to the downside here. Currently trading around 1.19, but I want to see if we can get to 1.8900, then 1.85. You can see on the daily chart we're over bearish here, a lot of bearish momentum. So yeah, just looking at that continuation to the downside, and then see if we can get that continuation. Oh, okay, thank you, William. Thank you. And yeah, no problem for the stream. See you tomorrow, man. Thank you for joining. Does mean a lot. Hopefully you have a good day, William. Cheers for joining the stream. But yeah, so Euro USD, looking for those shorts. AUD USD, same thing there as well. You can see we've rejected this support, now turn resistance, and now we're seeing that continuation to the downside. So overall, AUD USD, more downside for this pair, back into those lows here, and if you can get a break back into 0.74, and then some more downside after that. But yeah, AUD USD looking very bearish, and I do think we can see some more downside for this pair as long as we see that USD strength coming into the markets, which so far we are seeing. Pound USD still bearish as well. Again, rejected 1.4, still falling to the downside. I said that it would be nice to get a bit of retracement if you're looking for entries on the low time frames, but right now it's still very bearish. So yeah, GBUSD back to 1.38, might see a push up first, but if we can break through that, then GBUSD back down to 1.37, which is this double bottom here. But yeah, GBUSD is looking bearish. So yeah, US dollar strength coming in, expecting more downside there. Pound JPY, this pair again looking bearish as well. Like I said earlier, we've had this nice push into the upside, back into the area of supply, and now we're turning bearish again after that big melt that we had previous week. So yeah, more downside for GBJPY. I did say similar to Pound USD, if we did see a pullback into this area, great place to look for entries, but again, the market does not have to do that. The market is still looking quite bearish now, and again, I do see no reason why Pound JPY can't push back into these lows, or maybe even further. But yeah, more downside for Pound JPY unless we were to break structure. But yeah, GBUSD and GBJPY do move quite similar, so you know, if one of them was to move down, there's a good chance the other one will follow. So since I do expect to see GBUSD move down, I do expect GBJPY to follow. So yeah, more downside for that pair. USD CAD, more upside for this one as well. Another USD pair, however, instead of expecting it to move down, expecting it to move up, because again, USD CAD. So yeah, if it does play out, then we could be seeing USD CAD back at previous highs, back at 1.25. Like I did say, we're coming to this area of supply here, so might have a bit of interference there. We might see some retracement. But again, if it does move down, it's probably just price retracing, giving us another higher low. So again, can be looking for those long opportunities there as well. We do have a bit of a trend line if I connect this wick and those bodies there. So we could actually see that happen into that trend line and then the continuation, which again, another entry for longs. But yeah, right now, GBCAD failing to break through this support there. And I think that could be a little bit of a bottom for the trend to continue. And yeah, see more upside. So yeah, more upside for USD CAD. Gold, this pair is looking bearish, like I did say before. I'm expecting downside for gold. We were seeing these lower highs here in the market with all those spikes, and we're failing to break through this resistance here as well. And now we've had the close below. So yeah, I do see that continuation back into the support and maybe even further. On the hourly, it looks like we had a bit of a retest. So yeah, more downside for gold, and again, we're seeing that US dollar strength coming in, so that's helping gold fall. And yeah, I do expect to see 1760 reach, which is this support, maybe even some lower lows as well, since we did have that big collapse to the downside. No, we could just be seeing a continuation to the downside now, but overall downside to the downside for gold. And next, going to take a look at USD JPY. Like I said, this pair a little bit choppy, not the best pair to trade. You can see we are pushing to the upside, but you can see that we're coming into that resistance, so not the best place to look to long into, even though I can expect to see a break for USD JPY. It might be a bit choppy to trade, but like I said before, want to see a bit more retracement for this pair. It's moving to the downside now. Want to see price keep up that momentum to the downside, come into this trend line here, see if we can get a nice bounce, another rejection, and then we can go long from there. You can see previously we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 tests of this trend line, so looking for the fifth and then the continuation. But again, want to see that retracement first and then the move. But if we do break through this trend line, then yeah, we might be seeing price collapse a lot further, but we'll see what happens when we do get there. Probably won't do it today, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. So I'll check again tomorrow during the live stream what's going on with that pair. But yeah, expecting a move down and then the move up. So currently only in Euro USD at this moment in time. Looking for shorts to the downside and see how that gets on. Again, 2 targets there, so we'll probably be in this trade tomorrow during the live stream, so I will give you guys updates and see how that trade's going. But that is the end of the live stream, everyone. Thanks for joining, thanks for watching, does mean a lot. Thanks to everyone who's liked the video, does mean a lot as well. If you haven't already, guys, subscribe if you like the content, does mean a lot. But thanks again for watching, guys. Hope you all have a great day, and I hope I do see you guys tomorrow. Remember, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. GMT. But yeah, that's the end of the live stream. Thanks to everyone for joining, and until the next one, I will see you guys later.